What have the USA, Israel, and Tahiti all got in common? That's my guest. Coming up next, Heiarii Tetaria. Coming soon. Let's go.
Hi folks, welcome to the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast by Gary Ryan from Organisations That Matter. In this podcast, Gary shares everything about servant leadership, service leadership, authentic leadership, how to create high performance cultures, service excellence, and life balance. Here's your host, Gary Ryan.
Thank you, Sienna, for your lovely introduction. I'm really delighted to have an absolute outstanding guest with us today in Heiarii Tetaria, who's zooming into us, not via Zoom, but via a different application all the way from Tahiti. Welcome.
Thank you, Gary, to having me here. It's a real honor.
Heiarii, one of the things I love about your journey is you are a global citizen, a true global citizen, having been initially raised in Tahiti, then spending a period of time in Israel and the USA, then back to Tahiti. What's it like to be a global citizen who can speak three languages, French, English, and Hebrew?
Yeah, so it's a big advantage that I got. I'm a big believer that life is the biggest school, the best school that we can have, and the fact of traveling and seeing so many different cultures and different mindsets, it really opened my my sight and everything, and like it's a big advantage for me to have lived in those three cultures that are completely different.
Yeah. What would be a standout from one culture to the next?
Yeah, so it's funny because let's say Tahiti is really laid back, right? And then the States, well, I lived in the States when I was a child, so I didn't, really didn't get the biggest impact because it was from 5 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then Israel is when I went to, let's say, high school and stuff like that. And in Israel, it's very fast. Like everything is very, very fast. And then when I moved back to Tahiti, where everything's a lot laid back, a lot slow, people thought I was like crazy, and it was very funny.
And so did that take a while to adjust back into Tahitian life?
Yeah, it did, but it did help me a lot because I do have a different mentality because of that, and but yes, it did help me a lot.
And with Le Bon Plan Tahiti, which is your main business, when did you start that and how did that get started?
Yeah, so that Le Bon Plan, which is now my main business, is actually the second business I did. We did the Le Bon Plan after a big crisis we had. Like in 2008, there was the crisis in the States. We got it roughly about in 2010.
Mm.
So in 2007, I opened Tentation, which is a fashion jewelry store, and
Yes.
we had quite a success until 2010. We had like 5 stores in Tahiti,
Wow.
and so the crisis hit us. And I had to close 4 stores, and I had to find something else that would help me to grow, right? So I was looking on. I would travel a lot, and people would ask me how I would travel to the States, what would be the good deals, and that's the name. Le Bon Plan in French means the good deal.
Oh,
So finding the good deals, the good rental cars, and all that in the States, and that's how it really started. Le Bon Plan, which is one of my biggest successes, started because of a failure, let's say, or a hard time with Tentation.
oh yes. And if you've been in business for a period of time, if you haven't had some sort of what we might call failure, you've not been in business long enough because they happen to absolutely the best of
Yeah.
us. And the global financial crisis, it's interesting that you mentioned that happened in the US in 2008. It hit Tahiti in 2010. And I would argue the same really with Australia. We had an initial impact, but my business at the time didn't get really hit until 2010. And it probably shouldn't have been, but it was a massive shock when it hit me. And then that was a massive learning curve too, because I had to reframe and restructure what I was doing in order to be able to continue to be here. And then, swing around to the pandemic in 2020, same thing happened. And, I'm in my third iteration of my business as a result of learning and discovering when those waves hit you, or tidal waves, however we want to describe them, the gaps that I actually had in my business.
Yeah, and it's funny because well, in 2019, 2020, when the COVID hit, same thing. The travel industry went down, and what helped us was that we still had the store. We still had that one store, Touchdown, that helped us keep afloat. And it's from there that I discovered, let's say, I was really in bad. I was really in a bad place during COVID because I think we closed the borders for about a year in Tahiti, so no people could go out, no people could come in. There's no economy in the travel business, and I was about 600,000 in U.S. dollars in debt,
Yep.
and that wasn't something that I think anybody can plan, but that was not in my plans.
No.
And so I had a hard time, and I fell in depression. I felt like I was just like the shell of myself, really the shadow of myself. And my wife would always put motivational clips in the morning, and nothing really talked to me because it was really, for me, it was just like motivation, just a little bit people talking, but it didn't really sink in.
Mm.
And then then I heard Grant from 10x saying that if you don't do your potential, if you don't maximize all your abilities, you're selfish, right? In his terms, was poor people are selfish, right? But that's
Yes.
what it meant to me, and that hit me. That hit me, and that changed everything. And then for like 3 years, I just did all his podcasts, his free stuff. I would just do it for about 3 years, from 2020 to 2023.
Yeah.
Just all his free content. I mean, I think I saw pretty much all of his YouTube videos and his interviews. And yeah, he was in my ear for about 3 years, every day, 6 hours a day, roughly. I
Yes.
would continue in that mindset. But
Wow.
then I hit a cap, like from all the free stuff. I knew I needed to go to the next level. So for Christmas, I bought the GrowthCon tickets for 2023 last year in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the first paid
Event.
material event that I went to with my wife. It was on Valentine's Day, and it was amazing. 3 days, and honestly, when I went in, I was still a little bit skeptic because I'm like, I don't need coaching. I went through a lot. I Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I'm like how do you call it, the stereotype of the business owner that knows it all and that doesn't need to learn it all, right?
Mm.
So when I entered it, I was very skeptical. But then the first day went in, all the speakers, and you would see that every single one of them went through some failure or some hardship, or it wasn't like what we see now on social media. Everything's easy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So we did the 3 days. It was amazing, and then I committed to being a 10x in the 10x business coach program,
Yep.
and yeah, that completely changed my life and my vision on how I can impact lives. And that's mainly my main mission now. Is I want to bring the 10x mindset to Tahiti.
Yes. And as mine is with, Alison Wheeler, to bring the 10x mindset to Australia, because we fundamentally believe that our country, like Tahiti, needs this mindset. And it doesn't mean we'd have to change our culture or anything. In fact, it's actually natural to have a 10x mindset and to serve your community and to serve your people and to make things better. And that's, you and I met through the 10x business coaching program. and more recently got to meet in person in Miami at GrowthCon 2024. And, you know, we've both experienced to be in a community of people from all over the world, quite literally, who are committed to making the world a better place through business. And I must admit, a bit like you, I was reasonably skeptical until, honestly, I actually participated in a webinar with Grant, and within the first 3 minutes, it was like he relit the spark in me that I had used to start my business 17 years ago, and it's that fire just hasn't gone out. And to be in the ecosystem and to see all of, in this case, Grant and Elena and Jared and Brandon and Natalie and Jody and Dragon and Elliot, and the list just goes on of the people and the community that we've got our support from is I'm absolutely convinced that I'll be looking back at my journey into 10X as a complete and utter turning point for the better, for my life. And getting back to your journey though, like you mentioned that a lot of business people, you were the atypical business person who went, I know it all. I don't need any help and I don't need any coaching. Yet, like you mentioned, you're in GrowthCon 2023 in Vegas. First day, the speakers, you realise, it was as if that skepticism disappeared on that day. Is that accurate?
Pretty much, like 90% of it.
Yeah, okay.
90% of it.
Yeah. So to then go from I need coaching and I'm going to get into a coaching program where I do get coaching or equally become a coach myself, that's a pretty big flip in your own mindset. So can you recall what was really going on in your mind for that, like, really enlightenment, if you like?
Yeah. So for the first day, I was just listening to everything, and then when there was like the breaks, the 10X salespeople, Elliot, and everybody would come and start selling us. And so the first day I didn't buy anything. But when we went back to the hotel room with my wife, we would like talk about what just happened at the day and if we have the budget and what should we do to go on. Should we take something? So the first thing I bought was the second day was the 10X licensee or the 10X business program.
Yes.
And so what happened is, well, they asked me questions. That I was asking myself all the time. So, do I want to evolve? Do I want to do the same things over and over again and not grow, or am I finally ready to be coachable, to learn, and to do like what all like the mentors I was looking at? Because at the time, well, of course, it was Grant, the most influential, but then there was other people that I would look up to, and they were all coached. And when you look at it, all like the big people, they're all coached, and they're always striving to learn.
Yes.
And so then I asked myself, like, who am I? Like, in this world, I'm nobody, right? So in this world, I'm nobody. I think you have to constantly ask yourself and be humble and be able to learn, and to ask yourself the good questions. And honestly, ever since 2023 at GrowthCon, I think I'm the person I talk to the most every day. Like, I think if you would film me the whole day, you would think I'd be crazy because I'm talking to myself all the time.
Yeah, I can completely understand that and relate to that. My wife's constantly opening up the door when I'm having a shower saying, who are you talking to? Because I'm in there coaching myself or asking questions or whatever. So I completely relate to that, Heiarii. And again, that journey of being open and that question about, am I coachable? What a question. Am I coachable? Yeah. I hope everyone listening or watching this asks themselves that question. Am I coachable? Because the best of the best are coachable. I mean, we just see it time and time again. LeBron James, Michael Jordan. We got Tim Grover, their coach,
Mm.
on stage just recently in Miami at GrowthCon. And Arnold Schwarzenegger coached, Mike Tyson coached, Grant Cardone coached, Elena Cardone coached, Brandon Dawson. They all have coaches. They've all had mentors. And the best of the best have these people in their lives to help them be accountable for their learning and growth. And, you mentioned the decision to become a licensee. It's no small investment to do that.
Yeah.
It's no small investment, and that is an investment in yourself. And what a lot of business people are missing, particularly the ones with that mindset of I know it all, is they're not investing in themselves to grow and develop, and they're missing out on the benefit of that. And so what's been the difference over this year and a half ish, let's say, journey for you? It's probably a bit less than a year and a half. What's been the difference to you and just your business and family life in Tahiti since you've taken on this own growth and development for yourself? And interestingly, probably gone back to that 11 to 19-year-old living in Israel where it was really hectic, because let's be honest, the 10X world brings that hectic mindset. So it's like it's sort of taking you back to that part of your life in some respects.
Yes. So, well, already from last year, so it was in mid February, the GrowthCon, and already we started to apply everything we learned from GrowthCon and the calls. So like in 15 days, for our store Tentation, we went up about 34% just in 2 weeks, just by implementing simple stuff. The
Wow.
second month we went up 52%, and the third month it was 75, and the fourth month we doubled. And roughly in the 6 months, the investment we did at GrowthCon was already paid for. So now it's really just bonus, and we're riding on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just an incredible story of, as you said, like I've done something similar where the initial part of what I was learning through the coaching program, I was just been applying to my business, just saying, how can I use this and discovered I thought I was pretty good at marketing and I thought I was pretty good at sales. And very quickly I understood I was a 1 out of 10 for both of them. I was so far off the mark, it's not funny. And we've gone and completely shifted that. And where that's taking us is just where we really want to be, to have that positive impact on more lives, as you and your business is doing. You're getting more people to be able to be serviced in such a way with what they actually want, and you and your team. And how much of an impact has it had on your team that you're leading?
Yeah, so they saw a big change because and also when we came back, I told them that because I told them that there would be a lot of turnover, because I also took 10x 360 with Cardone Ventures, and that's mainly on really the business side and the people and everything that they do. So like I think we might have went through like 30 to 50 people in the last year
Okay.
of hiring, letting go, hiring, and until we would find the good people that we wanted. Because let's say before we would hire, and if they were okay, we would keep them, but we
Yes.
wouldn't look to really find the good and the excellent people. And so like now we have a good team for the Bon Plan, and we have a good team and for Tentation, and they're more aligned with my vision. And I told them
Yes.
that they're entering a good time, but also a bad time, because I'll be a lot more strict and a lot more. I'll be more demanding of them.
Yes.
And so like they follow, because I do like a live stream every morning that I
Yes.
call Beat the Sun podcast.
Yep.
It's at 5 a.m. every morning from Monday to Friday, Tahiti time. And so like 90% of the staff are on those live streams. And when I started, I think there was only me, my mom, and one of the staff that she had to watch it.
Yeah.
because
Okay.
she was commenting on she was replying on comments on the same time.
Okay.
And
Cool.
now roughly we're anywhere between 30 to 60 people at
Every
5
day.
a.m. in Tahiti that are listening. And it's a difference. I mean, it's a different mindset, and it's something that can go like everywhere in the world. For me,
Yeah.
like the 10x mindset, and it's mainly for me, it's mainly believing in yourself, being accountable,
Yeah.
and yes, thinking bigger and all that. But it's mainly for me like believing in yourself and doing the actions that are needed to grow and to be accountable.
Yeah. And the upside for the employees that are 10x is the growth and development that they're getting, and but the ripple effect into the rest of their lives, their families, their own children, if they've got them, and no doubt numbers of your staff do. And when people first hear, "Oh gosh, high turnover, that must be," they go, "That must be bad." But there's a lot of employers are facilitating their staff being average at work,
Mm,
and they're taking that averageness into the rest of their life, which actually isn't in their it's not in their interest to be average.
yeah.
We're not born average. Every Anyone that's held a newborn baby knows that that baby is born extraordinary at birth. As soon as you look at it, they're freaking extraordinary. Like they, and yet somehow by the time so many people become adults, they don't even believe they're extraordinary anymore because they actually know they're not, because they've stopped being extraordinary for whatever reason. And the beauty of what the 10x mindset is, it helps you reignite that and become extraordinary again. And sure, there's high demand, there's expectations, but clarity is a beautiful thing. So for your staff to be aware, this is what my job is, this is what the expectations is. They are so far ahead of so many other staff, it's not funny, who actually aren't clear about what their job is and aren't clear about what the expectations are. That's no good for them.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go back on what you said because I heard it in the audiobook for the book that's just behind you that you wrote. And
Yes.
that's really amazing. I would suggest everybody to listen or to buy it. I actually did buy order the hard copy so I can get it signed next time we see each other, right?
Did you order that through Amazon or through me?
I think it was through Amazon.
Yeah, I can't sign those ones. I'll have to send you a link for the ones through me, sorry, because I don't get to see them. As you could imagine, it goes straight to the Amazon store and
Oh
they
yeah,
send
I
me.
mean next time I see you, I'll just yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Now I was just trying to get a second sale.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Now, folks, Heiarii did something absolutely incredible just about a month ago now, and he interviewed Grant Cardone. And I have to say, folks, we'll put the link to the interview in the show notes, because quite seriously, I've seen a lot of people interview Grant, but Heiaarii's interview with Grant is it's just a beautiful interview. And the Grant that we see in that interview is the Grant that Heiarii and I and the other coaches get to see quite regularly. It's not necessarily exactly the same as what you might see on all his social media activity. And I'm absolutely convinced if you watch the interview, you will understand what 10x truly is and what Grant's trying to do and how we're part of the ecosystem to bring that to all the world, including clearly Australia and New Zealand and Tahiti. You got to tell us the story, Heiarii. How did you get to make that decision? And then what was it like for you to actually interview him?
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty funny story. So like I said, the like after the 6 months, it was everything was paid for, right? For what I invested at GrowthCon. And so about 3 months in, I knew that it would be that direction. So I said, "Oh, what can I do? What could be a crazy goal or crazy goal?" And then I was sending Elliot and other team members like, what would it take to interview Grant? Like, is that something that most people do, or the coaches and all that? And just to put it into context, I didn't do any interview before. I didn't do like videos and all of that. Like I posted my first video last year, the 6th of April. And like I knew that to become a person that could believe and that could interview somebody of his stature, that I needed a total transformation, and it would be a big journey. So that's
Mm.
why, like, when I booked it for like 10 months in ahead. So, well, one, one, so I could have a monthly payment plan, right? But also to let me time to become that version of myself.
Wow.
And like that's what I'm telling people is like the interview actually wasn't the most important part. The most important part was the journey and what I needed to become. That I needed to believe that I could do that, that I could do something as big. Because honestly, for me, I mean, that was something that I would never dream or never imagine doing before GrowthCon last year. And so I went in there. It was actually when we were doing our certification on the second day. So they call me first. They tell me it was supposed to be for the next day, but they said, "Oh no, everything's going to GrowthCon, so we need to do it this day." And I was like already stressing out. And then they said, "Okay, it'd be at this time." And then that time would pass by, and like, are we still doing it? Because it's like 15 minutes late and all that. I said, "No, no, he's in a call, but come on over." And they came to get me at the classroom. And so I go into the studio. He's on a call doing his business and all that, and that was already very interesting. And then when we started the interview, he really put me at ease, and it was honestly it was just like this, like talking
Yes.
to you, talking to anybody, any normal person. And that's I think what I told him off camera is that's one of his like superpowers is that even with his huge success and all that is that he like talks to you like a normal person. And that was something that we saw at GrowthCon when we went to the buyers gala, that he would always over deliver. Like he would always
Yes.
answer the questions and all that. Like the interview was supposed to be for about 30 minutes, and we talked for about an hour and 20 minutes, like
Yes.
for the whole time. And you saw like when he came to the classroom unannounced, he stayed a couple of hours with us.
Oh,
And
yes.
you see that he wants to impact lives. And he even says it in the interview that maybe he doesn't do a good enough job on promoting that part, more the personal and more the impacting lives, and not just the money and the financial benefits, but really impacting lives. And that's what really impacted me when I heard him speak, and when I met him for the first time, is that I wanted not to be rich and to get money, but I wanted to be rich so I can impact as many lives as I can.
100%. And I think Grant's got a valid point about that. The more wealthy we are, the more we can actually help other people in so many different ways, because we're not stressing about money and those sorts of things. And he's absolute evidence of that. He is helping so many people. I mean, what he's doing with 10x Kids and the 10x the 10x or
Foundation, yeah.
Cardone Foundation, sorry, is really really powerful. You know, teaching millions of children about money, which whether we like it or not, they need to learn. It's not about money to get rich for rich sake, as you've just described, Heiarii. It's about understanding that it is a reality of our world, and there are ways that you can actually do it and learn from a young age that are going to set you up for life, so you can make a contribution to the world and positively impact so many people. I can hear my audience in my ear saying, what did Heiarii do over that 10 months to prepare yourself mentally, though? Because it's one thing to set the goal, it's another thing to book it in, it's another thing to have the payment plan and all of that stuff in place. But you still had to do some work on yourself so you could enter that room. And as is evident for everyone that watches the interview, you were just so calm and comfortable. It's just such a beautiful video to watch. How did you do that bit?
Thank you. So, well, that's also one of the reasons why I would do the live videos, like every day to practice, because before, when I started, I would just like film a video and then post it, right? And then I started doing live streams where I would interact with people in Tahiti and the comments and all that. That put me a lot more in ease. And also, every time we'd go to an event, I would try the I would force myself to take the mic and to speak. And the first time I did it in Vegas, it's like my hand was trembling, my voice was trembling. I forgot half the things I wanted to ask him, and then I'm like, what did I just ask? And like I was totally lost. But and then I think it's really step by step, and something that he says a lot is to commit first and then figure it out later.
Yes.
And that's what I needed. Like I needed to commit first, to the interview, to that, but also to myself. And
Mm.
knew that I needed to work on myself to be able to be that person that just talks, let's say, normally. And even this, like the podcast with you, last year I would never do it. Like I mean, not never do it, but not it wouldn't be as fluid as now. And there's proof of that because I did do podcasts before, and yeah, it's
Well,
not the same thing.
I remember when the day we first really had a longer conversation, which was at GrowthCon. So we interacted briefly through our certification. And I remember I took the photographs for when you
Yeah.
actually got your certificate. Yeah, it's a nice little claim for fame for me. And you just reached out and said, "Hey Gary, can you take these photos for me?" Which I was more than happy to do. And then because we had that couple of days before GrowthCon at the resort, we managed to catch up and have a longer conversation. And you shared with me that you're actually more on the introversion on the side of the scale, and that you always probably consider yourself more as an introvert. And you said, Gary, if you had met me a year ago, you would see that I'm a very different person than I am today. Now, you're not a different person as in fake. You're actually more authentic, is
Mhm.
what it appears from the outside looking in. What's your perspective on that? Is that an accurate statement, or it's something different again?
Yes, I would say that it's, yeah, I didn't like really change as a person, but I allowed myself to be more vulnerable and not let the opinions of other people really affect me as much.
Mm.
And I'm still somebody that doesn't speak a lot and all. Like if we would have asked at certification, like, who is the coach that did the interview with Grant, I think I would be the last one chosen, because like nobody heard of me. Like I wasn't the one speaking. I wasn't the one that, the most um, proactive person there. But yeah, I think let's say what's funny is before before my children, and like about 11 years ago, I stopped drinking, right?
Mhm.
But before, when I would drink, it was only when I would drink that I would be able to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so now it's amazing that I can do that, of course, without drinking, and at least I control what I say, and I know what I'm gonna what I'm gonna
You know,
choose.
you know what you're going to say. Now, in amongst all of that, you mentioned that you're a father. You've got two beautiful young boys. What impact has this last 13 or 14 months in your life? Probably actually longer, because you started listening in 2020. So really, what impact has the last 4 years of your life had on you as being a husband and father?
So from 2020 to 2023, it was really to take accountability and to acknowledge that um, that yes, it was on me, even though there was COVID, even though there was all that, it was on me that I didn't take enough time to work on my business, because I would be a lot with my family at that time, but it's not, um, or that's not the reason. But then let's say 2023, it allowed me to re-believe in myself, and 2024 was really more about clarity. And then family wise, let's say before, let's say up until pretty much up until mid 2023, I would like be very not aggressive, but very very fast. Very, I would like scream on my children,
Yes.
like hurry up, like that. And it's been about 8 months that I'm a lot calmer
Mm.
and I'm a lot more patient. And I don't know. I didn't really think about it as much as I should have on why it is, but I think it's because I'm clear on what I expect of myself
Mm.
and how I know I'm gonna react. So I know that if my sons are doing stuff that they're not supposed to do, that I know now how not to react, right? Because
Mm.
screaming on them and all that won't help, right? They'll just be angry or sad, and then I'll be angry and sad, and nothing. We didn't learn from anything. And so it 10x did help me be a more patient man, and I think helped me know more about myself. And that's
Mm.
something that, like in my live streams, I like to say that it's important to work on yourself to learn really how you are, how you react, and how you are with people and with yourself,
Mm.
so that you can learn how to grow and really know what's important for yourself. Like
Yes.
my children, for me, they, the first time I said life changers was when my son was born, because he literally changed
Oh,
everything. I
yes.
mean, if I wanted to or not, it was my son. He was born, and he literally changed everything in my life. So like 6 months before he was born, I stopped drinking. Like I said, I was somebody that couldn't drink just one glass.
Yeah.
Uh, it's yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
but like so I didn't want them to see me in that kind of state. And I really wanted them to see only the best version of myself. And it it's not easy, it's not true on some days, but I want to be somebody. I want to be their hero as long as possible, right? I want them to look at yeah, to look at and say, "Wow, Dad, he helped those people and that, and he's a good role model." And I want to be more like Dad.
Mm.
And that's really what helps me a lot. Like when I
Yeah.
talk to people, I say that, let's say my why is my children and my wife. My wife is my muse. Like
Oh,
she's
yes.
the one that put me on this path of 10x and getting better. And what's funny is that she's been in the personal development space for a lot longer than me. But and before, even before COVID, she would put the videos and all. But she was always hoping for that day that it would click and that I would go with it, because she knows that I'm somebody that does take action when I believe in
Mm.
something. And that I think when you can align your ideas, when you can align your ideas and your goals and your actions, it changes your life, and
Oh,
then you're
yes.
unstoppable.
Yeah. I'm so pleased that you've circled back to your wife, and I'd like to know her name, please.
Yeah, so it's Hinanui.
How
H
would I
I
spell it? H-I?
N A
Yeah, N-A.
N U I. Hinanui.
Hinanyi. Okay, Hinanyi. What does she mean to you?
So she's my everything. I mean, we've been married for about 11, 11 years, but we've been together for about 20. And same thing as I think many aspects of life is, at the beginning we weren't ready to have children. We didn't know ourselves enough. We had our up and downs. There was a period where we weren't together. There was like a
Hmm.
2 year period where we had, and it did us a lot of good. We had to be apart to know that we were meant to be, and that we and now honestly, I mean, we're like, for me, we're a power couple. She uplifts me in so many ways. And I it's something that I say in Tahiti, is that she is my muse. I mean, she is my source of inspiration, that helps me and guides me with my children to be the man that I know I need to be.
Yes.
And that's something that's very powerful, and that I'm very grateful and lucky to have somebody like that in my life.
Yeah. I mean, Hina Nui saw this man before you did, didn't she? 100%. And I mean, you started the interview with saying that she was the one encouraging you, sending, giving you the positive things to watch, and that's eventually how, in this instance, you found Grant. What an incredible person to have in your life, and all of us need to recognise the support that we've got within our partners, and how grateful, as you said, you are for her to be in your life, and as am I for Michelle. In my case, with my 5 children, we were actually together for 9 years too before we had children. So that's a number that we share, Heiarii. And it, everyone has these people in lives, and sometimes we don't realize the patience that they've got with us. But to have people that can see our potential, again, this is one of the reasons why getting coached and mentors is so important for people, because the coaches and mentors can actually help draw out the potential that often people can't see for themselves, and the growth that they need to do, and to make them that gift to the world that they were actually born to be. And as you said, some of the material from Grant is that it's selfish not to become the best version of yourself and provide that gift to the world. It's actually selfish to be like that, because every single one of us was born with something that the world can benefit from, rather than it being the opposite, which is often the case for too many people. Hey, Ari, I want to thank you for your time, but I'd like to finish the interview with this question, and that is, what does moving beyond being good mean to you?
So I would say that it's we should try. We should not be content on being average, on being good, right? For me, average is not a shouldn't even be in our mindset. Shouldn't even be something that we aim for. We should aim to be amazing. We should aim to be incredible, right? Because we do have the potential and the duty to do something amazing with our lives. And like you said, if we don't do what we are supposed to do, we're selfish. And if you really think about it, everything that we do, everything that happens to us is a result of actions or inactions that we do or don't do, right? So
Mm.
don't be average. I mean, who wants to be average, right?
We weren't born it. We just weren't. Uh, Again, any parent looking at a newborn baby, that baby was born extraordinary. And as parents, we can't afford to be average, because that's going to impact them. So we've got a duty, even to our children, to be our best version. And it means you get to do extraordinary things. Like you said, who would have thought you would have interviewed Grant Cardone? But you did. And you created this podcast to practice. You did what we call massive action to get yourself ready, to be able to get into that room to do that. I did say that was the last question, but of course I ought to ask, like, what might be one or two things you see for Tahiti as a result of having the 10x mindset?
Yeah, so my main goal is to impact as many lives as I can, first in Tahiti, of course, and because lots of people are told me that, yeah, I can like travel the world, and because I speak multiple languages, I can impact the world. But like I said in the interview, Tahiti is a dot in the world, but it's my dot, and I
Yes.
feel more and more really powerfully minded that that is my mission, and that's I'm starting to really get in that role and get in that mindset that I was born to do this, and
Yes.
it's something that I'm discovering in myself. So my next, let's say, like I said, I like doing big goals. So last year the big goal was to do the interview. Next year, one of the, let's say, the middle goals would be to bring people to GrowthCon. I actually already bought about a dozen tickets at GrowthCon for people in Tahiti, and then I have to work on that. And the big goal would be to do a live stage in Tahiti, and to put that into context. Like if I speak on podcasts, it's getting easier, but live, if I speak like in front of 5 people, my hand starts to tremble. That's my big goal for this year, is to get on stage and do like hundreds or even thousands of people. Like think big, 10x, and yeah.
Yeah. Look, in all honesty, I think the trembling hand concern's overrated. Who cares? It's not. I don't think it's something to be concerned. Even if it's still there, who cares? Because it's the content that matters. It's the authenticity that matters. And some people's reality is that's the way our brains work, and it does a physical response. And no doubt, if anyone can find a way to overcome that, you will. But even if it's still there, I
think I'll just put like a mic here, so I don't have to use my hands to hold the mic.
That's the solution. 100%.
Yeah, there's a solution for every problem.
Well, if you think about even GrowthCon, they've got those. Even Grant's got that sort of microphone. I want to absolutely thank you from the bottom of my heart, my friend. We've made this connection. It's one of the beauties of the 10X world is the human beings we get to meet from such diversity, but we're all got a very similar mission despite our diversity, and that's a beautiful thing. I think the way it comes together. I really am so pleased to have this opportunity to speak with you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving up your precious time to be with us here today.
Thank you. Really, really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heiarii. And folks, you would have heard Heiarii talk about my book, Yes for Success, How to Achieve Life Harmony and Fulfillment. You can get it from all good online bookstores, or if you want a signed copy, you can go to yesforsuccess.guru and I will definitely sign you a copy and send it your way. It is available in ebook form and also audio book form as well. Once again, I'm your host, Gary Ryan of the Moving Beyond Being Good podcast, and also the Director of Organisations That Matter. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Bye.